Traders, this is Sin with the New Level Trading Report for Wednesday, July 20th. Stocks closed near unchanged today, a day after Wall Street's best rally since March, as the oncoming debt ceiling deadline overshadows strong earnings from Apple. The Dow was down 15, the Nasdaq was down 12, and the S&P was down less than a point. This is a 5-minute chart of the Dow Jones Index, and you can see, I wanted to show you back here this 12,610 area last week, and what you can see is we came down to the 12,300 area and pretty much retraced all the way back, and now it's looking like almost a triple top here. And usually, again, I always say if you knock on that door one more time, you should break through that. And again, lots of earnings today, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Let's take a look at the daily, and this is what we're looking like here. You can see we ended with a spinning top, but at the highs from yesterday, again, as I showed you on the 5-minute chart. So usually a spinning top can mean a reversal, but again, so many earnings are coming in that it's hard to say what's going to happen, and we have a possibility of the debt ceiling, of that being resolved. So again, we're on lower than average volume though, so that's kind of interesting with all the earnings coming in. Let's take a look at the S&P futures, and again, you can see I'm going to change this to a 15-minute chart. And you'll see, again, we actually broke those highs from last week around that 1327 and came up to 1329.75 and then sold off a bit. So let's take a look at what that looks like just today. You can see, obviously, this is an overnight trading. So we actually, we were, I think, up about 5 or 6 points into the open, and then just sold off. And you can see lots of bottoming tails, but again, we came down, and I call it a little M pattern here, and we actually broke through that, and the low here was around 1317. So let's take a look at the daily chart. And again, you can see still in this consolidation area, we had what looks like almost a gravestone doji. So again, we're on below average volume, but I'm looking at that like a reversal signal. But now, as you can see here, this is after hours. We're starting another candle, and at least at this point, we're holding that low. But again, lots of earnings and kind of mixed as well. So let's take a look at the dollar again, just because we always do. And you can see again, still acting as contrarian. You can see, but although a little bit different, you can see a little bit. We did try to bounce here, but ended close to the lows today. But like I said, pretty much even on the S&P today. So let's take a look at our dollar. And again, what's happening is, we talked about it, a test of this 74.88 type area, and we're still in this triangle here, this ascending triangle. So this doesn't surprise me. I like the way it's looking. It's not doing anything that's unusual, and it's on a little bit below average volume. So overall, you can see we did not have average volume in all the indices today. Let's take a look at FinViz, and again, you can see we started, we actually gapped up a little bit, filled the gap, and then we actually had a new high on the Dow today, but then sold off. And you can see we didn't actually come up on the Nasdaq, especially. Obviously, we did not do well. Apple had a really nice, had good earnings, good revenues. Their guidance was decent, but they sold off today. So again, let's take a look at the heat map, and you can see it's looking like a Christmas tree. Obviously, yesterday we talked about how financials were not doing well. They all sold off. Today they did very well. You can see Bank of America actually was up, and you can see Apple was up, but again, they retraced quite a bit of that really nice move to the upside yesterday. Let's take a look at the bubble study, and again, you can see looks like the gainer today, the high gainer was E-Trade, so up about 13.6%. Although you can see, if you look at that, they had really sold off quite a bit. Now they've got a really nice gap of about a $1.70. So that'll be interesting to watch tomorrow. If they, again, just like Apple, if they retrace some of that gap up. Text was a nice one. This is a conglomerate, up about a little over 10%. This is Cintas up about almost 10%. USB, this is a bank, obviously up about 4.5%. This was a nice one today. I actually traded this today up about 4.6%. It was an oil stock, and ISRG had a nice day as well, about 6% gain. Let's take a look to the downside, and we're going to move that. And now Yahoo was down today, but earnings came out as well. So we'll take a look at a couple of the stocks today that had had earnings, but Yahoo was down about 7.6%, and that was obviously, I think they reported this morning before the bell. This is Johnson Controls, also another one with earnings that they didn't do well, down about 4.3%. FFIV, that was after the bell, and that's one I want to try to remember to show you, did not do well on earnings, down about 6%. So let's take a look, let's go back to our right here. Let's see, let's look at this. I'm going to have to change a couple of quick things here, and that's going to be my settings here. Let's see, I'm going to go to equities and show my extended hours there, and there we go. So look at, that's what we did here, and you can see we came down to this 100. Again, always those nominal numbers, and lots of people having, if they have puts, they're at that 100 strike, and it came down and hit it within 58 cents. You can see that, and then it did try to bounce. And in fact, let's change this to a 1 minute chart because it'll show you a little bit better what happened here. You can see it bounced here, but now it's selling off again. So again, you know, it's all this reaction to what's happened, and people are listening to guidance and what's happening. And you know, it'll be interesting tomorrow because at this point it looks like we're going to try to test this low. So we'll watch that. Let's take a look at Intel, because I think that was one also that we talked about. And you can see again, I think that they actually beat their earnings. Their EPS was okay, but obviously their guidance must not have been okay. What was another one? Qualcomm as well. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, you can see Qualcomm after the bell, again, same type of situation. That 55 strike hit it almost perfectly, and you can see it's bounced, but look at all these high, really huge topping tails. So again, obviously it's lots of volatility, but on the other hand, look, we're up almost $1. So again, it seems like an overreaction at this point. So let's go back to FinViz really quickly, and I just wanted to show you what's going on in economic news tomorrow. And let's see here. Here we go. Tomorrow we have the initial claims, so it's a big day tomorrow, continuing claims, the Philly Fed, leading indicators, and the housing price index. So again, not only do we have lots of important economic news, but let's go back again and look at earnings for tomorrow as well. Let's see here. Oops, okay, let me try that again here. That's Qualcomm, so you can see again, just go back to my home page, and we're going to do that one more time. Okay, so now we're going to look at tomorrow's earnings, and I'm just going to do all of them. They can be before or after the bell, but you can see again with this, the market cap, this is what's showing Microsoft earnings tomorrow. That should be big. That's a Mr. Softy. That's a mover. This is AT&T. This is Philip Morris, PEP, that's PepsiCo, FCX, that's a big one. I like to trade that. That's one I usually try to trade. Union Pacific, this is Eli Lilly. Excuse me, Baxter International, this is Morgan Stanley. So again, some huge earnings tomorrow. This should be very, very interesting, and I'm anxious to watch and see what happens. So thanks so much for joining us. If you have any questions about membership, we'd love to talk to you. www.newleveltraders.com. Have a great evening.